Ah, Mexico. I'm a Mexican, and I just love Mexico. I love my family and I love our culture. We're just so friendly. And while in America everybody stereotypes us for eating tacos, there is one food that you guys forgot about us Mexicans cherish more than just tacos: eggs. And yeah, y'all stereotype Mexico that we're the capital of Taco City, USA. But no, 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 my friend, you are mistaken. For we love eggs more than tacos. Doesn't matter how you service eggs. We don't care. Hard boiled eggs, huevos rancheros, huevos con nopal. Heck, even some scrambled eggs. But we're not typical. We don't put salt in our scrambled eggs. We put salt and pepper. That's our culture. That's how we respect our eggs here in Mexico. In fact, we love eggs so much that two people called Rodolfo y Gabriel Riva Palacios, two brothers, made an animation studio called Huevo Cartoons, which in English translates to egg cartoons, and they made a Newgrounds channel, I think, where they made videos about animated sentient eggs. It's just kind of like skits involving 2D animated eggs. And yeah, it was pretty big for Mexico because it was like kind of like our Ed's World, where it was like animation project that had a good origin in this country. Like in Ed's World, they had in the UK, and then we in Mexico we have Huevo Cartoon, and this channel was really popular. They made some of like the most famous Mexican jokes of all time, like the huevos rancheros, cien latinas dijeron, all that. But in 2006, they were made an offer to make their little cartoons into a film, and that was the beginning of Mexican era. Y me decía, y me cantaba lo que sentía, solo soñaba, y me decía, y me cantaba lo que sentía, yo solo quiero una vida normal. Una película de huevos, or translated in English, a movie about eggs, came out in 2006, and this movie is just distraught mother trying to find her son while the son has wacky adventures. In the first film, it's all right in my opinion. It's nothing special, but it was entertaining. The story follows a hen, which I don't know what her name is, who gives birth to an egg called Toto, and the farmer collects Toto because to humans they're just eggs, but to eggs they're sentient and they can move. And Toto, gets shipped to a grocery store where he is to be sold, and then he gets bought by this thick woman, and then she takes the eggs to her house, and then that's when we get and that's how we get a prison escape, a chicken run kind of scenario. And then we meet Willy, who is older than Toto and has more military experience because he is the egg watcher. He is the watcher of eggs. And little side note before, if you're gonna watch the film, you know how in America you guys say nuts, like the nuts as in the food, and nuts as in like your groin? Yeah, eggs in like Mexico are like the same thing. They're kind of like double entendre for like your balls and like eggs too, like the food and like the groin. Yeah. So this movie's gonna have like a bunch of double entendres with like food and like the groin area. So yeah, just a heads up. Toto goes outside because he's like kind of like bait for the cat who guards the kitchen every day, so they can escape safely. And then that's where he makes a Cuban egg called Huevos Segundo, who is a chocolate Easter egg who's been forgotten about. The cat chases Toto, and then they escape. And every egg, including Huevos Segundo, escape except for Toto and Willy. And then throughout the movie they have a friendship. They have a friendship, and then we have little glimpses of Toto's mom and her friends trying to find them. And then there's a scene involving Asian chickens, but like they don't say anything racist about it, but like that's how it got so much controversy because they had that one scene of Asian chickens. So yeah, basically what you need to know about this film: it's fun, it's cheeky, it has really hilarious jokes. Yeah, all that good stuff. The movie came out in 2006 and had a budget of 17 million pesos, which if you translate it to American currency, that is about 800,000 US dollars. And it made 142 million pesos, or $7.8 million US, and it was a giant hit. And undoubtedly, with success comes fortune, and with fortune comes a sequel. the second film called another movie about eggs and a chicken. You know, it picks up like right after the first movie, left off with like Toto becoming a chicken, and now you know we see how hard it is to become a chicken when you're not an egg anymore. And then we get introduced to my favorite villain of all, like one of my favorite villains of all time, the egg witch, which is an egg made of stone who has magical powers, and this dude is just hilarious.
¿Cómo aparecer un pene al burro? ¡Oh, caray! A ver, ¡Zacatecas es fácil! ¡Ah, pues es pasta! ¡Qué susto, ¿verdad? Yo pensé que...
That's a good joke. Man, if you knew Spanish double entendres, then you know it's a good joke. This movie, in my opinion, is like the best out of like the Quadrology. Yes, there's like 4 movies. This is the second of 4 movies. I'll talk about them later. This movie really feels like a big improvement, especially in the animation. The 2D feels a lot more bolder, and the color palette feels a lot more darker. And this one, we get and this one we also dive into the character relations, like Coco, the crocodile egg, seems to be more into acting here. Willy and Bibi have like a kind of like a struggling relationship, like romantic relationship, and we also see the struggles of Toto, trying to become a chick. It's kind of like you're growing up. You were a little kid before, and now you're gonna become a teenager, and it's kind of hard fitting in, kind of being a teenager, because you miss all the stuff that you did as a kid, but you don't want to accept the fact that you're growing, you're changing, and it's a really nice story. Also, Willy gets stabbed by a scorpion egg in the middle of the film, and that's when the film decides to be we gotta save Willy movie, and then they got to visit a wise eagle egg to find a cure, and then we have an Avengers Endgame style battle at the end with Rob Zombie's demon speeding. It's just good. It's just great. This movie, in my opinion, is like the funniest out of all of them. It is better than the first one, miles better than the first one. Has a lot more action and a lot more heart, and in my opinion, has the best songs. The movie had a budget of $1.9 million US. I don't know how much in pesos, and it made $113 million US. So it was a big commercial hit, and the movie, and the Huevo cartoons have been silent. They have been posting online skits on YouTube, but they haven't made another movie. And then in 2015, I think that's when the third film came out, they skipped on the third dimension. Don't get me wrong. Just because they get on the third dimension doesn't mean all that bad. The characters, they look solid enough. But in my opinion, just why did they have to jump to 3D? And this one has the biggest budget out of all the films, a budget of $5.3 million. And in my opinion, this one's alright. This is a Rocky parody about young person needs to become a boxer to save his home, and has to face off against the big famous boxer. That type of underdog story. And we get introduced to some new characters. D, who is the romantic interest of Toto, the Adrian in the Rocky universe, and her father, Don Poncho. And yeah, in some origins here about Don Poncho, he used to be a big boxer until a duck came out and destroyed his entire career. Now everybody made fun of him. Daily life of a YouTube, and that's why he becomes kind of scared and has this kind of character arc where he learns not to be afraid of to face his inner fears. And Toto's character arc is that he's weak, doesn't become weaker. And then we get introduced to one of my favorite side characters of all time, Patin Patan, which literally translates to the loser duck. But yeah, and he's voiced by Omar Chaparro, which, if you guys don't know who he is, he voices Poe in a Latin American dub of Kung Fu Panda. And he's just a famous Mexican celebrity. So yeah, the third film is fine. They didn't need to go to 3D, but they did anyway. No one's gonna listen to some YouTuber with 316 subscribers. And it made $26 million in the box office, and it was an okay hit. And then the movie's been silent for 6 years until the fourth film finally came out. So yeah, the fourth film finally came out in 2021, and yeah, the character models do not look good in this film. This is, in my opinion, the least great out of the franchise. The movie was made on a budget of $1.15 million, but only made $4.09 million back. And unfortunately, the voice actors who voiced the mom of Toto and the voice actor who voiced Don Poncho passed away in 2020 because of natural causes. And yeah, it's just kind of sad to me because Don Poncho was a really good character in the third film, and Toto's mom was just funny sometimes. The fourth film is about Dee and Toto having 2 children, which are golden eggs, and then we have this Steve Irwin kind of lady who collects eggs as a hobby, and yeah, it's basically the whole, oh no, our children got kidnapped because I was such an overbearing and protective father, we got to go save them. And one of my biggest issues with this film is that it brings back characters we haven't seen in the third film, but the first and second. And I was so excited for the old characters to see Toto all grown up to be a rooster, and they pass up together, they pass together for forgotten times. But no, they literally act like they haven't met each other for any other time before, and that just grinds my gears. Why did they do this? So yeah, this movie had the lowest box office performance out of all the movies, and in my opinion, it's the weakest one because it's not like it's horrible or anything. It's just that it's uninteresting, and also because compared to the first film, which was okay, and then the second film, which was a godsend, and then the third film, which is okay, and then you have this one, which is eh. It's kind of like Kung Fu Panda 3, where the first one was an amazing film, and then the second one was an immediate masterpiece, and then the third film comes around after so long, and it's not how you expected it to be, but it's not horrible, but compared to the other first 2 films, it's kind of low, you know? So yeah, fourth film, my least favorite out of the Eggs franchise, and it says it's a conclusion to it, but they did make a show, a 2D animated show that's exclusive for the Mexican version of Netflix. And yeah, that's the last time we've ever seen the franchise of the Eggs, and I'm kind of sad. For you Americans, this might not seem as something grand, but to us Mexicans, it was expansive. These movies were something special because usually one of the best animated films came from a big American studio like Disney, DreamWorks, or Sony, I guess. So to Mexico have these hit animated films that came from a Mexican studio, not an American studio, was a big accomplishment. And sadly it ended almost 2 decades in the making. And yeah, for me it was kind of sad to let these movies go because they were a huge part of my childhood, and I didn't really want to let them go. And unfortunately, that's all I have to say about the X franchise. They're really great if you understand Spanish, but the English dubs, don't watch them.
Is he going to crow? I'm proud of you, son!
Oh, Mom, here goes nothing.
Just don't watch them. In order to appreciate the films, you need to understand Spanish and Spanish slang, because that's the best way to enjoy these films. As a Spanish speaker and someone who understands Spanish, this is a really hilarious time. But for people who don't understand Spanish, it's gonna get a little confusing if you watch the subtitles. Well, except for one joke in the fourth one, which me and my dad always laugh at.
¿Y para qué tenemos estos colmillotes entonces? Para defendernos. ¿De quién? De nuestras esposas.
That's a good one. That's a good one. But anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say for this franchise. It's fun. It's nostalgic. Please watch the second one. It's amazing. And yeah, see ya. This is not the big return you kind of expected, huh? Yeah, me neither. But here I am talking about an egg franchise, a Mexican animated egg franchise. So yeah, do I have any other plans to make videos? I mean, I have some, but they're gonna have to take a while. So yeah, see you soon.